The Demon Slayer Infinity Castle movie is #1 in the world right now, which is fucking crazy. Remember when shonen movies used to be half-baked filler that people didn't even bother watching them in theaters? Now we got an anime movie on the verge of surpassing Hollywood blockbusters like Superman and Formula 1. This is something only Demon Slayer could do. And now after 2 months of Japan gatekeeping this movie, I was finally able to see for myself it's worth the hype. If you're not familiar with Demon Slayer, it's a basic shonen story. A boy loses his whole family to a demon except for his little sister who gets turned into one. So he sets out on a journey to avenge his family and find a way to turn her back human. And if you're not familiar with how massive Demon Slayer is, Mugen Train is the highest grossing anime movie of all time. Also the manga, which is only 23 volumes, was able to sell more than Bleach and might beat Naruto soon. He was even able to dethrone One Piece in the yearly rankings, something not even the best of the best could do. The Infinity Castle trilogy is basically the endgame of Demon Slayer, adapting the last arc of the manga, an all-out war between the Demon Slayer core against Muzan and his upper ranks. While a lot of people thought it was a weird choice to make this arc a movie trilogy, we know that with Ufotable track record and Demon Slayer popularity, it's no wonder this movie is a massive hit. Quick story, there is actually no cinemas where I live. There used to be one, but it got shut down way before I was even born. So me and a bunch of friends had to drive over 170 kilometers just to see this movie. I lost a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of energy, all to experience Infinity Castle. And I say this with tears running down my cheeks, it was actually worth it. The movie was great. If you thought Mugen Train was really good, this one blows it out of the park. I don't know how Ufotable do it, but they just keep up in themselves. Every single shot in this movie feel like a masterpiece. Every frame shows the insane amount of work and care that went into making it. The soundtrack had me hyped the whole time. The music, the energy, the emotion. It was everything I wanted out of a Demon Slayer movie and more. We follow 3 main fights. The Insect Hashira against Upper Rank 2, Zenitsu against the new Upper Rank 6, and Geiwan Tanjiro against Sakaza. This is not a spoiler by the way, all of this was in the trailers. Every fight was visually stunning, all were very hype, especially the Akaza fight. This goddamn fight is one of the sickest anime fights I've ever seen. The choreography went so insane, I'm not even sure the characters were doing all of that in the manga. It was a crazy cinematic sequence after another that had my theater hyped the whole time. The concept of the Infinity Castle is so entertaining. Ufotable really made sure to bring it to life in the most spectacular way possible. While all the fights were playing out, you got scenes of all the other Hashiras and the Demon Slayers running all over the place fighting lower ranked demons. It just made the whole experience more immersive and engaging. Plot-wise, it is what you expect from Demon Slayer. The fights kinda play out the same, with fights, then flashbacks, more fighting, then maybe more flashbacks. Something if you watched Demon Slayer before, you know how it goes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it gets too repetitive. That's why this might be controversial, but I didn't really care for the Shinobu or the Zenitsu fight. They were really fun, visually stunning, and I like what I was seeing on the screen, but I wasn't emotionally invested enough to care about the stories they were trying to tell. I did like the Yakuza backstory though. I wasn't tearing up or anything cause I ain't no bitch, but a 16-year-old sitting next to me suddenly burst out crying. A bunch of girls started consoling him while he just kept on crying, and I'm sitting next to them like, if this movie could hit someone this hard, then it must be doing something right. And to be honest, usually when Demon Slayer pulls out the sympathy card, I'd be like fuck off, just kill the evil demon already. But with Akaza, it was the first time I actually felt kinda bad for the guy. I seen a lot of people criticize the flashback for being too long. I get it, but I think that's more because of the movie format. If it was a TV show, it would have been like an episode and a half and nobody would have cared. But since it's a movie with limited runtime, having a giant flashback as the final act just doesn't feel right. Even my friend, who's the biggest Demon Slayer fan I know, was annoyed. For me, I didn't care, it's Demon Slayer, of course I expected a long flashback at the end, especially for the most interesting villain in the story. Yeah, I said it, fuck that Michael Jackson guy. Also, I was locked in watching the flashback and someone said he killed 67 people and it just took me out of the movie for a minute. I hate my brain-rotted brain, why couldn't it be 68 people? But overall, I thought this arc is still way better than the last 2 arcs we got. The pacing was tighter, the fights were balanced perfectly, and of course the animation was world class. Plus it had all the hype moments to back it up. And again, I can't stress this enough, the Yakuza fight was just a masterclass. Easily the best fight in Demon Slayer so far. So the movie was a solid 8 to 8.5 out of 10 for me. It was a great cinematic experience, but more than that, it felt like a celebration of anime and animation itself. Demon Slayer fans, anime fans, and people with the tiniest interest in this medium. Everyone came together in theaters to experience this movie. I might have said I didn't like the Shinobu or the Zenitsu fight, but I know that there's millions of fans out there who who do, and that this movie means more for them than I can imagine. I might not be the biggest Demon Slayer fan out there, but I've always appreciated its art, and I understand that it's one of the few animes out there that can put the whole world in a chokehold like this. So if you really like Demon Slayer, you'll probably love this movie, and even if you're not a huge fan like me, I think it's still worth seeing, cause we might not see something like this again. I mean, there's part 2 in 2027, but you get what I'm saying. In the meantime, the Chainsaw Man movie is also coming out, and I'ma need your help to find my next trip to the cinemas. Just a like and subscribe would suffice. Also, if you've seen this movie, tell me what you think about it in the comments. I answer every comment, and I'll see you guys next time.